everybody. Good morning. Thanks for starting your day the KUAM way. We're here in our Harmon studios in our control room. You're watching Crime Time with GPD spokesperson Paul Tapau. And this morning, we're going to be talking about safety. And with school starting, private schools started today. And so when you're out on the road, you're going to start seeing more traffic. Isn't that right, Paul? And I guess what kind of tips do you have for people?
Well, again, it's the start of the school year 2019-2020, so it's a special moment for seniors that are going to be graduating, but really the excitement and the anticipation and the fear factor that comes into play. So transitioning into the start of the school year, private school has already started. Some classes began, I believe, Monday. So we're starting to see that uptick in traffic. And, with the inclement weather that we've been having, it's expected because this is the time of the year where Guam is expected to, uh, you know, encounter heavy rains, inclement weather, so even typhoons. That's an indicator of the start of the school year. But it really, just with the last 3 days, we saw that it was nonstop, heavy rains, and it was an advisory out. So the first thing that we want to talk about and highlight is, of course, road etiquette and understanding what you need to do and drive, and breaking away from the summer norm where traffic was at its minimum when only people that were commuting were people who were going to and from work. Now you're having parents who have to drop kids to school.
Right, and you say that. Like for me, for example, I knew I had to get up extra early because it was my son's first day back to school. The picture, the obligatory first day of school picture, will be going up on my Instagram page. But yeah, I already noticed traffic once I hit the Upper Tumon area. Traffic was already, starting to be crowded.
Yeah, and the same thing here. My daughter, she this is her senior year, so go Cougars, and of course our youngest son, who's infant of Prague. So, they both go to a private Catholic school, and I firsthand saw the traffic and the effects and everything. And what I want to advise the community is really anticipate and expect the delays because it's going to happen. Coupled with the weather and everything, there's a lot of road hazards that are out there. We are still expecting heavy downfall, heavy rain, heavy inclement weather throughout the weekend. So use this time to really gauge now with the private schools opening up. Gauge your time. Gauge when you expect to leave home. When do you expect to arrive at your location? Because come next week, August 13th, you're going to see a major influx on the road. And that's the start of the public schools, all public schools. And
Just say that one more time. August 13th. That is the first day of school for public schools. I know we've been getting all kinds of messages on our Facebook page. When does school start? When does school start? It starts on August 13th.
yes,
Just so
August
people
13th,
know.
it's the first day of school, both elementary, middle, and high school, all public schools to include some of the charter schools. So now you're going to have to really gauge how you drive. And I speak with this with heart because I used to be a crash investigator assigned to the Highway Patrol Division. And one of the three major factors in which we've actually learned to understand and became part of our pretty much our religion was how do we determine the causation of a crash? And realistically, the three major causation for a crash is one, speed, alcohol or impaired driving, and three, inattentive driving. So understanding the three major factors, if you are running late and you need to get from point A to point B, you're gonna do everything and anything to get there to include driving above the speed limit. Understand that there's gonna be a lot of people out on the roads. The,
Yeah.
the roadways are gonna be inundated with everybody and anybody. Inattentive driving. A lot of these high school students are excited to get back. They want to showcase that they got their driver's license, that they're able to drive. And one thing we stress to parents is really reinforce inattentive driving to your young drivers because my daughter, she's still trying to get her permit, but I'm still teaching her responsibility. I'm still teaching her that these are causations of a crash. It's when you're not paying attention to the roadways. And you're going to see young drivers out there. So, reiterate that to your young high schooler about their responsibilities on the roadway because you put friends in the car, it gets distractive enough as it is with your
No
handheld
cell
device.
phones
No
while you're
cell phone.
driving.
Yeah, and
No
putting your
selfies, hey,
taking
no.
picture, hey, I got my license and everything, and that's a big no-no. I mean, it really It's gonna be that. And then of course the weather. You know, Guam Homeland Security has been sending advisories out about reducing your speed and providing a safe braking distance. That is the best advice that we can give. You know, expect delays, anticipate time delays and everything, and you're gonna see firsthand when you apply that method of really reducing your speed and applying a safe braking distance. You are taking your responsibility as a driver in making sure that not only you're safe, but the other people around you are safe.
And also when you're out on the road and you see, you know, the buses
Yeah.
picking up the kids, slow down and
Absolutely.
stop. Because some people, they
Absolutely.
just kind of just go right through, don't realize, like when the bus, you know, all buses, they're equipped with the signs that says
Yes.
stop. And some people, you know, they don't pay attention to that.
Any school bus, regardless if it's a government of Guam school bus or a Dodea operated school bus, once the stop sign has been deployed and the lights are flashing, every motorist on the roadways have to come to a stop. Even us, first
Right.
responders, if we're responding code, we have to adhere to the stop sign because the kids may already be exiting and the driver has no control. The only control they have is that stop sign,
Right,
and we
right.
want to make sure that people understand it. And it's good. It's good that you bring it up because the buses are going to be out in effect.
Oh, yeah.
Come next week, Tuesday, August 13th, you're going to see buses traveling at all sorts of the hours, picking up the high school kids from 6 in the morning on to 7. Then they move transition to the elementary grade, and that's from 7, I believe, to 8 o'clock, and then also the middle school. So they're going to be out there. So really pay attention to the buses. Pay attention to the flashing lights. That's the first indicator.
Right.
Before they deploy the stop sign, they have to turn on the flashing lights and then wait and then allow people to adhere to the stop sign. And before they exit the bus or enter the bus, he'll deploy the stop sign. But it really is incumbent upon everybody to pay attention to that, and also paying attention to the posted speed limits along school grounds.
Well, since we're talking about traffic, let's make our way outside.
Yep.
I did want to ask, you know, this kind of goes both ways. We talk about being responsible when you're out on the roads and when you see the buses. But for people, and I'm not saying this happens all the time, but we do get tips and we do get phone calls. We do get messages on social media of people concerned about the conduct of bus drivers. And so if you see a bus driver who may be exceeding the speed limit, who do they call?
Take note of the bus number. Each bus, other than the attached license plate that's either there, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Department of Public Works,
Right.
the busing service, you have attached license plate, but take note of the bus number, take note of the location and time, because what we can do is you can actually report that straight to the bus services at DPW. And we work closely with the superintendent of DPW's busing service, Mr. Frank Titano. We've held safety briefings with him. We've actually incorporated training for their bus drivers in just road safety tips, laws that may affect them. But take note of the time, take note of the bus number. If you can, capture the license plate. If you can also capture, the location, and go ahead and just report it to the Department of Public Works. And these guys are really, the superintendent and himself, to include the directors and the deputy directors of DPW. They understand the precious cargo that they're carrying, and they understand the importance of the bus drivers, knowing that that's a lot of responsibilities that they have to carry. I know they have deadlines. I know they have to meet the location and everything, but it's still, once the precious cargo is loaded onto the bus, it's your responsibility now to transport these kids to and from safely, because the parents, we've entrusted the safety of our kids on the hands of first and foremost the bus drivers, the bus operators, and of course the school in which the respective schools in which they attend.
Right, and you know, there were some issues at the end of the school year with this student who had gotten on the wrong bus, and the Department of Public Works is conducting an investigation. But we spoke with the Deputy Director, Jess Garcia, a couple of weeks after that incident, and he did assure us that all bus drivers, before they go back on the roads for the new school year, that they will be undergoing a bunch of safety training.
Yeah.
But I did want to go back to, we talked about what you do when you see a bus picking up students or dropping them off. You stop and let them safely cross the street. But also just a reminder for motorists, in the school safety zones near the schools that they need to slow down?
Yes. So the speed limit is 15 miles per hour. Once you enter an active school or a school that has an activity going on, which is the kids, pretty much it's in operation. There's posted times. I know there's a school down the road, one in Guerrero. So when you're motoring here, I believe the speed limit is 35. But once you approach the school zone, you have to reduce your speed to 15 miles per hour, and that's to allow for pedestrians such as the kids to cross to and from the streets. This is a very busy roadway. Route 27, Harmon Industrial Park, Juan Guerrero's is pretty much it's very populated with a lot of elementary kids. People travel to and from. So anywhere along the main thoroughfares, even within the village, you're going to see traffic indicators or traffic signs that will indicate school zone. 15 miles per hour while school's in session. So they give a time frame and everything. We have to understand that that's built by design because, again, inattentive driving, it's really, you can be, defensive driving it's only applicable is when you're capable of understanding how you can control your speed. Speed is a factor in a crash, but be able to control that at a prudent speed and a safe, prudent speed, 15 miles per hour is the safest and prudent speed in which you can actually make an assessment of a threat or a danger and be able to react to that. So we call that perception reaction time. You perceive the threat, you see the threat, you have enough braking distance because of your speed, your prudent speed that you're traveling on. And my daughter, who's really working at getting her license, I explain that every day, every time we approach school. When you see this, you have to make adjustments on your speed. Antolon Middle School, that's a main thoroughfare. Vietnam Veteran Highway, Route 10. That's a very busy intersection. People utilize the tri intersection. They see that they come in, by 7:45 to 8:25. That's the busiest time Antolon is in operation. Please understand that posted speed limit signs are going to be posted on the oncoming and the opposite direction or the main travel thoroughfare. You have to adhere to that. We've done operation at Highway Patrol where we've issued citation for speeding in the posted zone, and the people who are the recipients of the citation had argued, why is it 15 miles per hour? I thought it was 35, and it baffles me that they don't understand the school zone in which they have to travel at a safe, prudent speed.
Let's shift gears now. A message for parents, because for kids that are going to be walking to the bus stop, what kind of conversations should parents be having with their children about being safe?
I'm glad you brought this to light because, our office is working on a stranger danger campaign that we're going to bring into the schools. And unfortunately, what happened, the closing of the school year, we actually had a kidnapping, abduction, and of course a CSC that occurred in line with that. And it really is understanding the safety and the responsibility of the parent. Talk to your kids. Talk to your kids about the stranger danger concept. Look it up online. Our office, our community affairs office, will be deploying our guys out to visit the schools. So talk to the students, particularly about stranger dangers and what they can do to keep safe. Develop a plan with fellow, other parents who utilize the bus shelter to have adult supervision at those bus stops. It really is important that we start seeing more parents out there because it really is a deterrent. It really is a deterrent, and it really is a responsible decision that parents collectively can make. Talk to them about walking in packs, strength in numbers. I think that's really important when kids understand that when we're walking together, it's less chances of anything should happen. But it has happened, and it's unfortunate it happened to us the closing of the school year. It's tragic. It was shocking to a lot of us here in this island, and we can learn from this. And it's important that we do learn from this and we continue to teach the community about what they can do to stay safe, because if we can prevent this from happening, we at the Guam Police Department, we've known, and collectively with all our community partners, to include the Department of Education, Department of Public Works, the Mayor's Office, and of course our media partners who bring the message out to the community. The more you're informed, the better you are and the better you're equipped. So understanding what you can do as a parent by simply talking to your kids about making responsible decisions, about going straight to the bus shelter, about looking both ways, about understanding stranger danger, and working a method in which you can actually keep the kids safe. You know, you can develop a program where parents can have a system where I can watch on this day, I can make sure the kids get safely on the bus, and I can make sure they get safely off the bus. You know, these are methods in which they can actually deploy as a community.
All right. Again, school starts for public schools August 13th.
Yes.
Private schools, the majority of them Catholic schools, started today. So just another reminder to please be aware of kids that are going to be crossing the street, buses that are going to be on the roads. Any final comments?
You know, let's start off the school year right. You know, school year 2019, 2020. It's really, it's good to start off on the right track. You know, we have a treat for some of the schools that are going to be starting next week. We have our High Five a 5-0 campaign. So, you know, we're going to be working closely with DOE, not just us, but also the Guam Fire Department. A lot of community service providers out there are going to be out in the schools, bringing the kids back into the school. So be looking out for that. So don't be alarmed if you see uniform officers or uniform safety personnel at your respective school. So coming out, you know, our concept is to really encourage the kids, give them an opportunity to meet and greet some of the officers that service the respective proper. And the concept of high-fiving a 5-0, it's really building that rapport and the trust with the kids in the community.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul. High five.
Yep.
A 5-0.
Be safe out there, Guam.
Bye.